Hello friends. This is a pretty short video comparatively towards what my newer content has been aimed towards. This is just a short little slideshow video off of a game that I actually performed. It was the first game that I ever played Dredge in the Dead by Daylight board game, very specifically the Malicious expansion. Full disclosure, this was an awful game for the survivors, not because they misplayed, but because there was not a single great success, and they rolled a ton of failures. But I don't want to talk too much in the beginning. I'm just going to talk throughout this whole thing. It'll be still images, so I hope you can enjoy that. Let's get right into it. Alright, to begin, we are playing on Macmillan Estate. Everybody, well, not everybody, most of the survivors are bunched up in the ancient tree. Aside for Meg Thomas, she was in the mine entrance, and then I am up in the foundry upper floor. As you can see, the survivors tried to get their survival props flipped at the bottom there. I thought that was a really good strategy. Trying to get their survival props so that they can grab items, and because we are playing Adept, I can't remove any of those using things like Hoarder or Pop Goes the Weasel or anything like that. Hopefully the next image will show up soon enough. I believe Meg went first. Yes, Meg went first. She goes into the foundry ground floor. She rolls a success on the generator. Hattie Carr goes into the mine depths. She rolls a success on the generator. Things are looking okay for them so far. And then the next one who goes is Yunjin Lee. If I remember correctly, she goes into Scrapyard. Oh god, it didn't show it very well there. She flipped the generator face up, but she actually took an item. If I remember correctly, that item was a flashlight. Yes, Yunjin Lee took a flashlight. This also shows that we were indeed playing, Adept. No extra perks. I don't know why this person picked Yunjin Lee. I'm not gonna be breaking breakable walls or going through pallets, so they're not really going to get a whole lot of use out of smash hit. Jane goes. Where did Jane go? Jane went up mine depth. She sprinted. She also, got a success on the generator up there. She flipped over a crow. And if I remember correctly, yeah, I played my 4, I go into the scrapyard, but Yunjin Lee stops me with a flashlight. That's why you gotta get rid of those items early. That stopped an early wound, which kind of sucked. I then went up to the mine entrance, and I think I pulled in Hattie Carr. That looks like Hattie Carr. Using my power, forced her to play a crouch. She came into my space. I had flipped over a hook. She was wounded. I'm pretty certain. Yeah. Yep. And that's the conclusion of round 1. No one rolled a failure. 2 generators got work done. One of them is at 2 progress. One of them is at 1 progress. Or no, actually. I don't know quite yet. Okay, so round 2. I didn't do this the best, but I do know that Hattie Carr is going now. That right there, that was kind of hard to see, but in the scrapyard, Yunjin Lee used one of her blood points to spend on fast track. Okay, Hattie Carr comes into foundry ground floor and rolls a failure. She was trying to do the generator. Hattie Carr rolls like 5 or 6 failures in this. This was an awful round for them, truly. Yunjin Lee comes up, to the ancient tree. She finds an exit gate. Nothing else to do, so what a waste of a turn. That's kind of unfortunate, right? Hate when that happens. Jane goes into the mine entrance. She also rolls a failure, but this wasn't for the generator, this was for solidarity. She was trying to use solidarity to heal Hattie Carr from a distance, because Jane is good. Jane is really good. Who was that just moved? Oh, Hattie Carr comes into my space to get an overzealous point. If I remember correctly, she does the generator, right? Oh, no, that was Meg? Oh, Hattie Carr's going last this round. Or, no, she already went, didn't she? Hold on, sorry, I'm a little confused. It looks like Meg just went. Oh, yeah, because Jane just went. My bad. Yeah, so Meg just went. I actually lost where she went. But she did take an item. That item was a toolbox that gets used a little bit later. Okay, she went down to the back lot. I actually happened to go down there too, so I smacked her. Or excuse me, she went to... God, I am so out of loop. Sorry. Anyways, back lot, she must have gone coal tower, upper floor. I went over there as well. I used my power to finagle her to go vault so I could smack her. And then I went to the ancient tree. I actually forget why I was going to do that. Oh, because it has the most amount of connections, so I can lure people in. And I actually ended up hooking... No, sorry. I think that was my first wound on Yunjin Lee. So I ended up wounding her. And revealing a hook. That's what I ended up doing. I think I actually take a bonus turn, though, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I end up taking a bonus turn to wound Jane so that all 4 survivors are wounded. Blight would be proud. So something about this board that I'll mention right now is that the mine depths is literally impossible for the dredge to get to. Because there are no survival props in Ancient Tree or Mine Entrance. The only one that there is, even nearby, that connects to Mine Depths is in the shack, but you can't get to the shack. So that breakable wall to the very left literally means nothing to you. You can't interact with it. So the generator up in Mine Depths, if there is one, you've just got that. Okay. So now if I remember correctly, Jane's going first. Jane moves into the mine entrance. She does actually get the heal. It looks like that's on Hattie Carr. Hattie Carr then moves into the Foundry ground floor. She gets to heal Yunjin Lee. No, that's Meg, I think. No, because Meg's down there. God, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. From this top-down view, I actually can't remember all that happened. This was to show that the crow got used. We finally started figuring out how to better showcase this. So now we can actually see. Meg goes up to the coal tower upper floor. And she hides in a locker. That actually ended up saving her. It was a really smart move. It looks like Hattie Carr's going now. Yeah, she tries to come and heal Yunjin Lee, but she fails. Second failure in a row. This was a really, really bad match for the survivors, and that's not because they did anything wrong. They could not stop failing. It was so sad. So yeah, I end up going down to the back lot, but there's no one that I can actually lure in, and there's no locker there. So my power nor my perks actually helped me here, meaning I just wasted an entire turn. If I recall correctly, I think I removed the crow, which does do me good. And then I also go up to the mine entrance, and I get the sacrifice on Yunjin Lee, which is also why the failure was so miserable for the survivors. So I have a sacrifice pretty early. This is round 2 or 3, if I remember. No, this is round 3, and I already have a sacrifice. Just a reminder, first game as Dredge. This game was really good for me. I ended up going to all the right spots. Okay. This is round 4, so I believe Meg goes first. No, excuse me. It's Jane. Jane goes first. It looks like Jane went up to the foundry upper floor because I had used Disillusion on the sprint. I'm pretty certain she was trying to see if there was a crow. Meg goes from Coal Tower upper floor to the foundry upper floor and then uses Sprint Burst to vault, but, without playing a card. She unhooks Yunjin Lee. If I remember correctly, Meg ends up going into the foundry ground floor. She does. That was a really safe way to go because she had already used Sprint, which means that in most of my connections I couldn't get there. I actually don't remember where I end up going. And then Yunjin Lee ends up going... Sorry, Yunjin Lee goes down to the foundry ground floor. Meg goes up to the mine depths and ends up using Toolbox and completing that generator. If I remember correctly, she didn't have enough blood points for Adrenaline, which didn't really matter. There was nothing too crazy that she could have done. But yeah, that does kind of suck for them. I don't know who that is. Hattie Carr. Hattie Carr goes up there. It was completely an accident. They were trying to get the generator done, but she goes up there and tries to heal Meg. Fails, of course. So I end up going into the Ancient Tree. I use my ability. I end up luring Yunjin Lee, it looks like. She could not get away from me. I put her on the hook. Or sorry, that was Yunjin Lee. Who the hell was that I just hooked then? Dog, I'm so confused. I'm sorry. I'm not the best narrator. I didn't have this practiced. Yunjin Lee uses Fast Track. She gets a success on the generator. Whoop-de-doo. That generator never gets touched again. It's a good thing Dredge is a big boy so I can keep up with him. Oh, yeah. So actually a really smart thing I did, I went scrapyard. There was a locker there. I flipped it face down. I go up to the foundry ground floor and then I actually get another hook on Yunjin Lee. And in the Ancient Tree, I'm pretty certain that's Hattie Carr that I wounded in the Ancient Tree. That shows you my movements and how many blood points I have. I'm sure I'm using Septic Touch, but it would be a little too subtle for me to remember. You'll just have to watch this a few times to notice all the props that are gone, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember every little thing. Oh god, who's going first this time? I think it's Meg. So Meg goes to the Ancient Tree, gets the heal on Hattie. Then Hattie moves, gets a success on the scrapyard generator. Congratulations, Hattie, you did something. I'm sorry, I know you're watching this video. I'm sorry, I don't mean to give you flack. Sometimes you just fail, and sometimes that's just your fate. Yunjin Lee ended up using kind of a wild route. Yunjin Lee was on the hook, that's right. Jane used kind of a wild route because I had used Disillusion on the sneak, so she went vault, there was a crow there, used the crow, went sprint, unhooked. Where did Jane go? Jane went to the foundry basement, and then Yunjin Lee went to the back lot. I would assume because there was no hook there, and that just felt like the safest space for her. Really sad. Really sad. Okay, so I end up going to the mine entrance. I pull in Meg. That was my first hook on Meg as well, so I get 1 point. As you can see, there are no crows nearby in any effective spaces, so keep that in mind. I come down to the scrapyard. I think... What is this showing? Did I wound her? I start doing some of these close-ups. I end up wounding her, and that was my turn. Yeah, okay, so I'm pretty certain this is the final round, or like the second final round. Second to final round. She ends up using inner focus. One of them is a failure. Go figure. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Um she was trying to get the unhook on Meg because there was no way she was going to get there in time. She ends up going to tower, the coal tower upper floor. Um Or no. She goes to the back lot and actually gets the heal on Yunjin Lee. Um, and then Yunjin Lee comes into the foundry basement and gets a failure. Oh my word. You can only imagine the absolute madness that took place during this round. And look at that! Jane comes into the foundry ground floor and gets a failure on that generator too. Dude, I was swimming in blood points, but it's not because I was touching Hex Totem. It's just because they kept failing. They did not get a single great success, and I felt so bad. So yeah, I show up to the coal tower upper floor. Um, Sorry, drank a little bit of water. I show up to the coal tower upper floor. There is a locker there, so I spend one blood point on darkness revealed. I go down to the coal tower ground floor. There was a hook there. I use my power to steal Hattie from the back lot. She's still wounded. There's a hook there, so I hook her. That was my first hook on her, giving me another progress. Yeah, there it is. I finally added it up there. Um, yeah. So as you can see, I won the game. Meg is on the hook. Hattie's on the hook. That's two hooks at the end of cleanup. But just to really put salt into the wound, I come over to the scrapyard and I kick their generator. I ended the game with 3 blood points. I could have taken a bonus turn and I could have taken a bonus turn and went and destroyed their other generator or smacked Jane. I would have only BM'd because they're my buddies. And this was a horrible game for them. Yeah, that's the end board. I'll catch you in just a second. Yeah, so these are my thoughts on Dredge. To deal with septic touch, we discovered a great technique in that the survivors want to run far, far away from the dredge and they want to flip over as many props as they can. But if you're near dredge, flip over boldness props or objective props, and then when the dredge comes into a space, they have to flip over the objective the survival and altruism props, because septic touch is only used when a survivor reveals a prop. Of course, to mitigate this, you can use your power and drag a survivor into your space to destroy that, prop, whether it be a chest, pallet, or anything, right? I actually don't think you can get rid of hooks. I think those count as objectives for you, but like at the same time, I don't know why you would destroy hooks. Yeah. If they didn't fail as much, they would have given me a lot harder of a time. They definitely would have completed 3 generators if they didn't keep failing. And if they didn't keep failing, they would have gotten some very crucial heals. This was honestly just a really, really bad game for them, and that was part of the luck factor. These folks that I play with, they play really, really well. I think there was only one round where they were like, okay, we gotta heal, right? And I forget what round that was, but yeah, this was a stupid short game, and that's because they couldn't heal each other, they couldn't get generators done, and they had to keep running, and they didn't really have time to get items. I just kept wounding them. that bonus turn that I did that also wounded Jane, that was a really good play on my behalf. The people that I play with, again, are stupid good. I swear to God, they're omniscient. But they can't account for luck, and that was kind of unfortunate. If they had Jake or Dwight, they would have done a lot better, obviously. The only misplay, and honestly the biggest misplay, is because I said I was going to play Dredge, and then somebody picked Yunjin Lee. I don't know why they did that. That was honestly the only bad thing. I would have picked either Dwight or Jake, but also I'm so sick of playing with Jake. Please pick somebody else, and I'm glad that they did. The idea for Meg and Quick and Quiet, Jane, and Head On, those are really good ideas. And then, of course, you gotta have Hattie, because it's just thematically fitting. This was a really weird game. This was my first Dredge game, and of course I won. They just kept failing. It's just, there was nothing more that they could do. They also didn't get a single great success. So Poised never came into play once. And Meg had to keep using Sprint Burst to adjust for the lack of progress that was being made. So Adrenaline never got used. And the two items that were claimed were a flashlight and a toolbox. So nothing that was even like insane, like firecrackers or a commodious toolbox, or hell, first aid kit, which is what they really could have used. I don't have too much to say other than I still think Dredge is one of the best adept killers in the game. Honestly, probably better than Clown Adept. And if you know me, if you're in the Level 99 Games Discord server, you know how I feel about Adept Clown, and he is good. He's probably one of my favorites when it comes to adept killers. But I think the Level 99 Games crew did really, really good with Dredge. You can see that Dredge, the reason they never even considered throwing down pallets once was because I also got really, really lucky with my hook spaces. If you'll notice, most hooks were in spaces where I could teleport to, and of course my power is to drag survivors into the space. The biggest misplay, other than picking Yunjin Lee, was that they were very scared of coming into the space where I was, or where I could be. And because they hadn't faced against Dredge all too much either, it makes sense that they would do that, because, you know, when you're first going up against Dredge, you don't really know how to play against him. We discovered some stuff mid-game, and you can kind of see that they really started to get their act together at the end. They started coming into spaces where I could show up, but unfortunately they had to heal. They just had to do stuff, and when I got that Meg hook in the mine entrance, the game was over. Meg was the most, and Hattie trying to use inner focus to try to get up to the mine entrance, or at least use a crow to get up there, admirable and really, really goddamn good. Like, it was a good play. It was a really, really good play. It was a really, really good attempt. It just unfortunately wasn't what was it just wasn't fated to be so. But they definitely could have still won, but there were so many factors this game. I got really lucky with with my hook placements. I got really lucky with how many failures they rolled. They never rolled a single great success. Head on never got to see the light of day. They picked Yunjin Lee against a killer who doesn't really go through breakable walls or anything. Yeah, it was strange. It was really strange. Unfortunately, we really only had time for one game, which really was unfortunate because I was so looking forward to playing more. But we had fun. It was pretty short. It was kind of sad. We were like, maybe we could play a second game. And then we all looked at him and we were like, dude, you know what happens when we play a second game. It just keeps going. It never ends. And it was like, yeah, you're right. So we had to call it a day, and that was kind of unfortunate. I wanted to play another game of Artist and show that off, but also I don't like being the killer hog, and other people want to play killer too. So it might be a while before I get to play killer again, at least with my standard group, the God Gamers. I don't need to say names. But you know who you are. I love playing with you guys. Love you. But to the rest of you, at the time of recording, it seems like Europe will receive their board games in 1 to 2 weeks, and then when it finally arrives to Europe, it'll get shipped out. So it appears as though more people will start being able to actually play this game, and that's wonderful. I can't wait to hear what cool card synergies people come up with. I'm looking forward to seeing what perks people find are effective against certain killers. If you want a little secret, Jake does really good against the Artist because of Calm Spirit. Because the description states that dire crows be treated as regular crows. So you can move dire crows as Jake, making it almost impossible for the Artist to recollect her dire crows. And you just get to determine where they go now. Just go walk into the space, use it as an interaction, and go throw it in the corner where Artist has to go drag herself over there. So you can bully her. And I haven't played against that. One of my buddies was... he was what's it called? Theory crafting. He was theory crafting. He was like, so this is how this perk works, right? And I was like, oh my god, you're right. So I have a feeling the next time I play as Artist, I'm gonna go up against Jake Park, and it'll be Calm Spirit, and I'm not looking forward to that. But anyways, this is getting a little bit too long, and this is no longer a synopsis nor an overview. So I'll call it an end here. Sorry that this was kind of a lame game, but I hope this gives you a bit of an idea on how Dredge plays and what not to do. But also at the same time, just like, it's kind of hard to learn anything because they kept failing, and that's not even their fault. But now I'm repeating myself, and that's something I do often, so I'll call it, I'll call it good. I appreciate you for watching this far, and yeah, that's about all that I've got to say.